A number of high-ranking Russian tax and police officials, as well as several ministers and judges, have been blacklisted by leading foreign banks. Media sources say they've been put on the list for their alleged links to the case of a prominent lawyer who died in prison last autumn.
Yeah, to find out more about this story, let's speak to Primetime's Ivor Bennett. Good evening to you. Ivor, we just said many prominent, high-ranking Russian officials. Just explain to us in detail who is on this list.
There are 60 Russian officials on this list in total, and some very high-profile names, including Viktor Grin, who is the Deputy General Prosecutor. Also on the list is Alexei Anichin, who is the Deputy Interior Minister, and even Viktor Voronin, who is who heads the FSB's Economic Espionage Unit. And so some very high-profile names on this list, 60 in total, and the fact that they're on this list means they're considered high risk by foreign banks. The list is called the Politically Exposed Persons List, and it's been put together by a company called World Check, which is a leading risk intelligence company, and the list is actually used by 49 out of 50 of the world's top banks.
Ivor, why are the banks even getting involved in this story?
Well, typically, banks actually don't do business with people who are on this list because the people are suspected of being in breach of international money laundering regulations. It's not exactly clear why these people in particular have been put on this list, but according to the British newspaper The Telegraph, which reported today that these men were actually put on the list early this year by a US Senator Benjamin Cardin, who asked the State Department to deny them visas for entry to the US because of their alleged connection and involvement in the death of a prominent lawyer, Sergey Magnitsky. He was involved in anti-corruption, waging a war on high-profile corruption, and he died last November, whilst being held in a pre-trial detention centre. His lawyers say he died because he was denied medical treatment, and he was actually waiting for almost a year to be tried on tax charges. And that was a year after he claimed to have uncovered very high-profile, multi-million-dollar tax fraud. And so the details around his death are very, very murky, very unclear still. And just last week, in fact, President Medvedev's office ordered a full investigation into the role of police into his death. And the fact that these Russian officials, 60 now, have been named on this blacklist by foreign banks because of their alleged connection with his death has made the whole case a lot murkier indeed.
Yeah, not the sort of people usually would expect to have trouble with the bank, like you or I would probably have at some time. Thank you for bringing us the details, our correspondent Ivor Bennett.